film fans. So it's been a while since I've actually done a recording. I just finished watching Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince for probably about the millionth time, and I have to say this is one of my favorite in the franchise. If you haven't seen any of my other reviews, then I'm going to repeat myself for probably about the sixth time. See what I did there? I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. Like, I have Hagrid just chilling back there. This is one of my more favorite movies in the franchise. It has an 84% on the Rotten Tomatoes meter, and honestly, I think it deserved a little bit higher than that. Not like crazy, like 90-100% on the meter, because that would be just nuts, but a little bit higher than what it got. So, as Death Eaters wreak havoc in both Muggle and magical worlds, Hogwarts is no longer a safe haven for students, though Harry suspects there are a few dangers lurking within the castle walls. Dumbledore is more intent than ever on preparing the young wizard for the final battle with Voldemort. Meanwhile, teenage hormones run rampant through Hogwarts, presenting a different sort of danger. Love may be in the air, but tragedy looms, and Hogwarts will never be the same again. This movie, during its time in the box office, cleared a fairly astonishing $302 million and was released on July 15th of 2009. Now, this is one of the films that probably deserved a little bit higher than it got, but I mean, it was a really, really long movie, and it was very dark, so this is where the childhood aspect really just ends. Like, they're not kids anymore, this is happening, these guys are adults, and they have a war to fight. It was directed by David Yates, so along with quite a few of the other films, with a $250 million production budget. Now, because they had the production budget of $250, they made that back and a little bit extra, and of course, years later, because I mean, it's now 2022, almost 2023, because it is the end of December. I guarantee this movie is worth a lot more than that now, but then I'm gonna say, like, that's an astonishing amount to have made in the box office. This movie, right from the Warner Brothers logo, is very, very dark. Like, you can see progressively over time the movie's getting darker, but this is where it really starts to get that dark, solemn vibe to it. The CGI in this movie is absolutely gorgeous, along with, like, burning Hagrid's hut, and just everything that happens in this film is beautifully done. The Quidditch games, the potions, everything that happens is just really, really well done. And I think because they had such a high production budget, they were able to really go all out with this film and accomplish what they needed to accomplish to get the point across. Now, of course, in relation to the book, the film is obviously missing certain points and aspects that I think really would have led to the story, but I'm doing a movie review, not a book review, so here we are. No one noticed Dumbledore's finger. In a particular scene in the film, you see where Snape is talking to Dumbledore, and you see him looking at his hand going, how long, trying to contain the curse of Dumbledore's hand. His fingers are black. You're gonna tell me nobody saw that? He sits at the head table alongside other professors. He's around the students. He's around Harry, and none of them saw it? What? Like, that one part just didn't make any sense to me. Like, somebody's gonna notice your fingers turning black and go, oh, hey, what's going on? What's wrong with you? Nobody says a thing. Nobody notices. There's no awkward scene where, like, somebody glances his hand and looks away going, oh, that's not on my business. There's none of that. So that really, really bothers me that nobody noticed. You're gonna notice something like that. My favorite aspect is that one part of this film does remain sort of light, and that is the Weasley's joke shop. It is that single light in the dark in Diagon Alley, trying to keep hope and joy and laughter alive in such a horribly dark time. And whenever you see Diagon Alley in such darkness, it pulls at a part of you that you didn't even know existed, because you're so used to the laughing and the joy and the happiness and all these things going on in Diagon Alley, and it's broken, it's dark, it's desolate, it's empty, it's terrible to see. It's horrible. Like, I hated having to watch that part of the film, because you see it throughout all the other movies, and then you see this and you're like, that is so depressing, that is so sad. One of the other things about this film is that you can kind of, if you go back a few films, Dumbledore says, you know, happiness can be found even if in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. And I think that is really prevalent in, you know, the joke shop, and that Diagon Alley is such darkness, but the joke shop is, there's happiness, there's laughter, there's light, there's fun, there's even love potions. Like, it's that light in the darkness trying to keep people going, and it is beautiful to have that inputted into the film. Draco becoming a Death Eater. Can we talk about this for a second? Because this pissed me off. I'm not gonna lie, this made me angry. Draco only became a Death Eater because his parents are one, and you can really, really tell that this is not something he wanted to do, and this is something that was, you know, they kind of suspected for the films leading up that this was going to happen, but to actually have it confirmed actually bothered me. Like, I would have liked to see this storyline go, like, he goes against his parents, like, he's on Harry's side, even though he was the bully and the bad guy throughout the other films. Like, I would have loved to see a plot twist like that, instead of, oh yeah, he's a Death Eater now because his parents are. There's no real character development there. This movie seems much more realistic. So this film appears to happen in real life. There's a lot more real world aspect. There's a lot more just, you feel like you're standing there and you're not like CGI'd into something. Like, it's more based on reality than a lot of the other films are. Like, this is something you could see almost happening in real life. Like, cross your fingers, let's hope not, but this is something you could definitely picture. Like, you could be standing there and, oh, you know, that's happening, or, oh, look at the bridge is falling over there. Like, this is something you could really, really, really see. This film leads us to kind of see Lord Voldemort and have him finally personified as he's this bad, horrible, terrible, dark wizard. We know this throughout the whole franchise. But who was he before that? So before that, he was actually this lonely, dark, orphaned boy that had no friends, that had nobody to care for him, that just lived in an orphanage. He was different, you know, and that affects people. So I think that's one of the reasons why Voldemort was so dark, was just to get back at everybody that gave him a hard time, to get back at his Muggle parentage, to get back at, you know, he's like a rebellious little kid, and he just takes that to a whole new extreme. And you really see him personified in this, and I was actually happy to have him personified finally, as not just this dark, evil wizard that's like, I'm going to kill you and destroy everything we know and love, to actually see, I was a child once, this is what I went through, this is how I became who I am. And it was really nice to see that. Like, this really fed into the story. The Vanishing Cabinet in the Room of Requirement is one of my biggest pet peeves. In the last Order film, The Order of the Phoenix, you see the Room of Requirement. It can only be found if, you know, someone has real need of it, type thing. Well, why all of a sudden is it appearing to everyone exactly the same, and it's only supposed to give you the things that you need? So why is it appearing exactly the same for everyone? Secondly, why is it a storage room? It shouldn't have become a storage room, and even if it would have become a storage room, everybody shouldn't be seeing that if it is designed to meet the Seeker's needs. I don't think everyone's in need of a storage room. So this part of the film really bothered me and didn't really connect with the previous one, because there was just that, why is everybody seeing a storage room? Why is everybody, like, it shouldn't be the same. It really should not be the same. Helen Bowman Carter in this film does some of the absolute best acting that I've seen her do in this franchise. Like, she's an amazing actor. She really, really is. No matter what role she plays, like, she does it really, really well. And she was allowed to do basically whatever she wanted with Bellatrix. Like, you want to go crazy? Man, see you later, and we'll just follow you around with this camera. This was actually some beautiful acting, and I absolutely adored how well she did in this particular film. So for all the reasons mentioned above, I'm definitely going to have to give this one a 5 out of 5 on my Rotten Tomato scale, because this is one of my favorite films of the franchise, and there's so much happens in this film that really, really, really adds to, you know, this whole story that we have going on. It's absolutely amazing. Until next time, film fans, keep watching, and we'll see you all in the next review.